Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports. I'm your host for tonight's show, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. And sports fans, I got a wonderful guest here with me, and he's going to enlighten you on some things about his journey, his career, and the lives that he's been able to touch. So I promise you, for all those that think they know a lot about football and quarterbacks and all the above, I got a wonderful person here to share that with me. So if you like the show, please come on in and join 100 yards of football talk. Today, my guest, a great friend of mine, a comrade in coaching circles, but more importantly, his gift of being able to touch kids' lives in a positive way is what I think is special about him. A former quarterback for University of Arizona, the one and only Ron Veal. Some people even call him the quarterback whisperer. To me, he's my friend, Coach Veal. V, how you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How about you? Appreciate you having me on. I appreciate it.
I tell you what, V. I have enjoyed this journey of watching your tutelage journey. But your journey started many years ago, back when you were a quarterback, for University of Arizona under Dick
Right.
Tomei.
hmm
Tell us about that. Run and shoot offense.
Yeah, yeah. They came and got me out of the state of Florida, man. My senior year of high school. I was signed and sealed, ready to go to Missouri. I've back then we didn't call flip and commit. We just changed our mind. And they presented the offense to me, and I said, well, I think that'll be the best offense for me. I'm not that tall, so I was able to utilize my little my talents for as like movements, getting outside the pocket, you know, play action boot stuff that we're pretty good at, and that was the ticket.
So when you got there, man, at 5'10", probably 165, 175 pounds soaking wet, uh, you actually, the run and shoot offense, that's movement and throwing at the same time, getting on the edge back in the late 80s. Man, let's
hmm
let's talk about that.
Yeah, man, it was wide open. He had, Tracy Ham. The guy that recruited me was Tracy Ham's coach at Georgia Southern for a long time. Then he left Georgia Southern and came to Arizona. Ben Griffith, and he's the one who taught us that offense, 87 to 88, and that's what we ran. And it was a lot to it, but we put a lot of pressure on the defense with it.
Ooh, man, well, you know my side of the ball. I'm straight defense for life. So I don't like running quarterback because they're not sitting in the pocket waiting for something to go down.
Yeah,
uh, which I find that it makes it hard for me because a dual threat makes me have to worry about something. If you're gonna sit back there in that kitchen and cook, I'm gonna come in there and interrupt dinner. But if you're gonna take off running and go grab something to eat somewhere, I might have to find another way to defend it. So that is definitely something that bothers me. But here's the thing that when thinking about you, and man, you were back there playing the days of USC and Rodney Pete and what's my guy Aikman. I think you was out
yeah,
there you was out there with the guys having to sling it around.
yeah. It was a. I was the young one in that group, man, but it was a pleasure to watch those guys, especially Rodney Pete, and then
Mm.
Troy was a different quarterback, but he was really, really good, talented individual, big guy. But Pete was kind of special because he could kind of like what we were for us, like being able to move, get out of the pocket. But he said also was able to manage that pocket, dude. And they ran like a pro style offense back then, and they had some studs, boy. USC had some studs back then.
And yeah, and listen, they probably had all the linemen were probably all over 6'6", 6'5", 6'6".
Absolutely huge, huge.
And
They had a squad, man. Then you had Junior Seau on the other side. You had
oh,
Mark Carrier. Then you had one year we had McGinnis. We had to play against McGinnis. Then you had Coulter. Man, yeah, yeah. The names and names keep going and going, man.
well, you already said one that would hurt me. That's Sayal. I
Oh boy.
don't want that hit. So you had to get on the edge on these guys and either run it or throw it.
Right.
And
I tried
actually,
to.
you tried to. Well, here's the good part about it, though, V. in your career, you had almost 3,000 yards passing at University of Arizona. Y'all had just under 1,500 yards rushing. So for a man that went through all of that when everybody wanted the 6'3", 6'4" quarterback, all that prototype stuff, you were able to do some things that gave you your knack for being successful. And I think that's something that a lot of people that if they really know a lot about you, they know the poise it took from where you were as a player to what you're ending up doing now in your adult life is just amazing. I think it's just truly amazing. I wonder if your some of the kids you train watch some of the video of you.
These kids nowadays, coach, that they don't even know half of us played ball or what we did, and which is cool. And long as we are able to help them in the situations that we are in, try to give the knowledge that we picked up over the years of playing this game and being taught by people like yourself. And I think that's the most important part about it. And if we can get them to understand the game is from a mental and a fundamental standpoint, I think we're doing our job. Because a lot of them see the flash, but the flash ain't gonna win you no games. The
Wow.
flash get you in a lot of trouble.
Wow, you said something right there. Now, goodness gracious, you said something about the flash, and that's where I want to go with this next because you brother, you are probably one of the most humble trainers I have ever seen work. And I mean that because you and I had a chance to share time together in the Georgia Florida game when I was head coach and
Yes.
had a chance to go coach in that game and you did the quarterbacks and I watched you meticulously work with these quarterbacks and it was just amazing to me because I never heard you raise your voice. I mean, I know it's an all-star game, but the true I guess that montage of coach with the big voice and you can hear him before you see him. I watched you work, and it was almost like it was precision chess match of things, and you guys worked. You worked those kids that were all star players, and I watched you just methodically take them through things, and it was almost like you all were in your own dance over there.
Hmm.
Expound on
Yeah,
that
man,
for
those
me.
some
'Cause
good
I was
times,
lost.
man. That team we had that year, we had those two quarterbacks, and then the second year we had two good quarterbacks again.
Yeah.
And I think we was blessed to have talent at that position.
Yes.
And with the defense, you and Slade with the defense, that was special. But it always goes back to the fundamentals of the game. Can
Mhm.
we do the fundamentals of the game correctly more than they can do the fundamentals of the game correctly? If we can out fundamental you and out talent you and outwork you, I think we got a chance to win. Least amount of mistakes, win football games. You
Hey,
know, every now and then you might beat me, and every now and then I might beat you. But if I'm fundamentally sound, I do have a chance to win and don't make stupid mistakes, understand down in situations, and play from that part of the game. That's what we try to teach these kids now, over and over again. No downs, no situation. How you gonna play the game? Always thinking two steps ahead of your opponent, trying to say, you know what? If they give us this, we're gonna take this. If they don't give us this, we're gonna take something else.
right.
Small adds up. You know that.
Yes,
If
yes,
I
it
can beat you
does.
with check downs, I'll take the check down until you stop it. You know?
Man, yeah, that and I like to bring the pressure, so I'm trying to. You're gonna have to make me pull out another bag of tricks because if you got somebody that knows how to check it down, which we're gonna allude to that in a minute, because I had to face one of your proteges when a new one's coming out, and I didn't even know that's who you trained. I just watched his mechanics, and I said, you know what? I tell you what, that kid looked like he's been trained by somebody I know. But let me get back to this point, because back to the Georgia Florida game going into
Hmm.
hostile territory. And shout out to Anthony Jackson, my little brother, who is we call him the Jerry Jones. He's the one who gathered us all together as
Yeah.
coaches.
Hmm.
No people thought that I was the one that put the staff together, but I can't get that much credit. Although I would have loved to take it, but the Slade, yourself, and myself, and Anthony Jackson from Prep and Sports put us together, and it was just fascinating how he was able to do that and put us in a position to go down there and compete in a live environment, which was just
Yeah.
truly. No, no holds barred. It was just an all-star game with blitzing. And I don't care what you say. Playing against the Florida boys, South Florida, it was fantastic. Those guys were revved up. Wish the officiating would have been a little different, but it is what it is because you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta play it. But I think when we left there, and you definitely agree, I think the fans thought that the guys from Georgia came down there and we really represented well because even they were like after the game, man, y'all brought that wood to us. We didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
And
we put a good product on the field. It was good. It was a good product. And yeah, the fish just they got us a little bit, but
hey, listen, that's our story. We always sticking to it, right?
it was 100. Yes.
But I tell you what, that going back to that and just watching, and here's the thing that a lot of people and when people start talking about the quarterback whisper, and I was like, man, listen, that's my guy V, and they kept saying, no, man, that's the quarterback. I said, no, that's my guy V. So when it was all said and done, I said, you know what? I was watching the football game, and I just kept. I was at a tournament. I was in during the 707, and
Hmm.
then I was watching the preseason game, and or should I say, an early August game. And I watched this quarterback, and I was just watching his footsteps, and I was watching his poise and delivery, and I just kept saying, I just know this is not who I think it is because this is the little kid I saw at a 707 from Cartersville that was throwing darts at everybody. And
Hmm.
he was tall and skinny. He looked like he was 6'8", but I know he was probably 6'3", 6'4" at the time. But he just because he was so thin, he looked even taller. But
Hmm.
there was just something about his posture, and it just kept getting me. And then I said, that kid is going to be pretty special so that when I got a chance to see him again, and I didn't know who he was, I didn't know who Trevor Lawrence was.
Hmm.
And when I got a chance to see him on the collegiate level, I said, wow, this kid. And then, of course, when he started mentioning his work with you, I said, oh, here we go again. All right, that's what I'm talking about. And that was so funny because I said, you know what? After we finished our games, I knew that you were in working as a firefighter and paramedic, and
Hmm.
my hats off to you on that, brother, because
Thank you.
that is a service in itself. I thank you for what you do because you're in the business of saving lives, and that's another reason why I want you on the show.
I
But
appreciate that.
I want you to expound for some of these young folks out here that are listening. And I'm talking about us coaches out here that try to touch kids' lives in the right way every day. Can you give us your journey of how you got into working with these kids? Because Trevor is the one I mentioned, but of course there's many more. And they're all like your children to you. But how did you get started in this? And while we're talking about this, let's go ahead and I want my producer to go ahead and cue up some of the pictures of Ron while he's talking about this. But go ahead and share that with us.
Yeah, after college, after graduation, I played a couple years in the CFL, one full season, then I went back for the second season. They released me. Then, football is in our blood. So I tried to walk away from it for like 6, 7 years. I
Mhm.
tried to get away from it, not do any part of it, not do anything. Then one day, because I got into teaching, I was driving home. I've told the story many times, and I saw this kid throwing a football. I said, man, let me go over and look at this for a minute. And I kept watching, and I said to myself, I said, man, I can help this kid. And I went to his father and said, I can help your son be a better quarterback. And that's how I started. And I just started working with that kid and Ross Applegate, and he ended up getting an offer to go to Boston College.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how it all started. And we can run from this game, but it's in our blood. It's what we do. And we was put in a position to be these ball players and have a position of learning all this information. Why not share it? And that's
Right.
where I came up. That's where the passion comes from, to share information with these young kids as much as I can. If I can help somebody, I help them. If I can't, you try to find somebody who can. I'm just a
Right.
resource, like at the library. If you need me, I'm here.
Wow.
And that's the way I approach it. That's like, I don't know everything, but I will sit down and learn something and try to share it with you and try to give it to you the best way I can. If I can't give it to you like your style of learning, we'll try to find a person who can. And whoever that person is, I think that's what make it a team effort. So that's why I
Mhm.
always try to talk to the high school coaches that I work with their kids, let
Yeah.
them know I'm not trying to teach them something other than what they're doing. We when we train, we work with what they do at their school repeatedly. And
Amen.
I'll go ask them and say, you know what? Let me work with your guide. This is what we're going to do. And I'm going to give you updates on it. I'm not trying to tell him anything that what you're doing. I don't watch film with kids because they teach them to read the defenses the way they want to read it.
Mm.
I don't try to confuse a kid with that. But if a kid say I want some extra, I'll give it to him.
Right.
But I try to always put the coach in the loop and let them know that what we're doing and why we're doing it and the way we are doing it. I try to send him back a product for spring ball where his arm is in good shape, his
Mhm.
mind and the body is in good shape. Then I won't touch them until they finish spring ball and say, be in the summer. I let them be. I don't go to their practices and stalk and hold on to them.
Mm.
It's your product. I'm just trying to help. And
Amen.
I think that's where a lot of people get in trouble. They try to put the ribbon and the bow around these kids. That's not my kid. It's all of ours. It's a
Mm.
puzzle, and we just trying to put the pieces together. And if we put it together the correct way, the kid has success. You know,
Correct.
and and if they say this person helped me on along the way, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine too. But in your heart, you saying, you know what, we gave him something he can live with.
Amen.
That's just the way I see it. That's my opinion, and somebody can disagree with me if they want, but that's fine. But I know you as a coach, and I know that's your end goal is like, can I make this young man a better man down the road? And now they don't know you can get fired up real quick, but Coach Jones don't play. But
I'm,
but
I'm getting
but
I'm getting
but
better, believe it or not.
hey,
I'm
hey,
getting
that's
better.
good. But the respect is there, and you
Yes.
respect them. You get in their tail, but it's all for a reason and a purpose. If I wasn't bothering you, I done gave up on you because you don't want nothing.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So
That's
that's how
profound.
I see it.
Well, to go on several points you made, and I thank you for sharing that, because so many times coaches, head coaches, and coaches get too nervous about sharing the wealth of knowledge for their kids to develop to be better. Okay, and then the other part of that, V, is that sometimes there's the opposite of a Ron Veal, and
Hmm.
we're in the hotbed of Atlanta, okay, and it's highly competitive, and sometimes kids, the trainers, it can go, a training thing could go another way, and it hurts the kid in the end, because of who to trust, and then parents begin to follow allegiance to certain people that train, and all of a sudden the problem we have in Metro Atlanta, I'll just say Metro Atlanta, is because kids, they forget about their team and worry about their individualized training, and it hurts some of the coaches who are new into this training, and they mean well. And it's like anything in society. All it takes a
Hmm.
few apples to change that. That's why what you do and I remember Justin Fields when he played baseball. My son is
Hmm.
oldest son is a perfect game, and I remember Justin coming off that mound. Okay, and
Yeah.
and on a personal note, just knowing his father and I share a great friend, and it's just amazing watching that kid go from a little kid who was a two-sport athlete to working to where he is. So the 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 faithfulness of where you are, in it's all about the kid. That is really what I want to attack, because there are guys out there that are younger in this game, that not necessarily trying to do what you do, but maybe in a different position. I know they're defensive back gurus in Atlanta. Y'all know who you are. I know who you are.
Hmm.
And some of these guys have great intentions. You got pass rush specialists. I mean, I'm down here where Will Anderson lives down near me, and great kid, but he worked his butt off all the time. So what you see at Alabama is because of his work ethic and the people that have touched his lives in a positive way. But how can we get to the point where we split Ron Veal into another hundreds because 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 what these kids, there is a service to them. Here's the proof of the time you put in with them.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
the blessings, the most fascinating part is when I always want to see the look on your face or get an emotional pop out of you when Trevor Lawrence has done well, Justin Fields has done well, and Brock Vandegrift, who I just watched just tear people up in this recent state championship game.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And the Ja'Cory Brown kid down in Lounge, when I when you get a chance to be a proud papa, you still cool as ice. And that's the part that makes me feel like I think I'm more happy than you are. I'm at least in my mind, you know.
Yeah.
Because how do you tell me what the feeling's like when you watch these kids do so well?
Well, you hit it on the head. I think you know this as a coach. It's a pleasure to see these kids do well and be successful, right?
Right.
And it's their game, it's their world, and let them have that. I feel
Mm,
like sometimes some people try to take that from them.
mm,
And if you put in the work, like I always tell them, if you do the work, everything else will take care of itself. But you really got to be responsible for the work and being purposeful and have a purpose and be deliberate in what you're doing. These are conversations I have with these kids late at night after a game. They done had a bad game and they're on the cliff and they're ready to jump off.
yeah.
Dude, it's just one game. You had a terrible game. So what? Who cares? You just put that one away and learn from it and see what we can do in 24 hours. I always give them that 24-hour rule. Like, you can sulk and you can be happy. Either one, still put it in the back of your brain because it's time to get ready for the next one.
And
And
you
those kids, the good
right.
ones, you notice they can process information, they can process situation, good, bad, or ugly. And they don't show you any emotion. Them the ones you have to really, really sit down and say, yeah, he's gonna be something different. And
Wow.
then the names you call are the ones who can do that.
Wow.
I mean, they don't give you anything. I might be pissed off inside, I might be happy, but you'll never know it. And that's I don't say they get that from me, but I always tell them and say, man, you gotta play another play. You gotta play
Mm,
another week. What are you gonna do? You can't
right.
live on that one play or that one game. It's a process. So in a long story short, I enjoy watching them. I hurt when they hurt. I'm happy when they're
Mm,
happy, and this feeling is you just sit back and watch them and just be proud that they put in the work to get where they are. They gave
man,
up a lot of sacrifices to get there. They friends, they little girlfriends, hanging out with their friends.
right.
They out on the field Saturday or Sunday, and we're throwing a football in 90-degree weather in Georgia.
Ooh, in ATL.
Yeah, and on turf. So you always look back at the work they put in and the processes that they went through to get where they were with everybody else, part of that puzzle thing I'm talking about. And you just sit back and enjoy it and watch them and say, you know what? The biggest part is everybody got to know that God is the one leading us. And if
Amen.
they if you could believe that, all praises go to him, not
Amen.
us. We just a
Amen.
vessel.
Yes, sir. I believe that wholeheartedly, and you know that I cherish those words from you because in my previous interviews I talked about the transactional coach and transformational coaches, and what
Hmm.
what does that mean? And transformational coaches are those coaches that are trying to shape young men, shape boys into men and develop them. And it's about their nurturing development and their wise that's more important than the wins and losses. And in talking to Ron Gartrell, I mentioned to him that was hard for me to come up with, but I read a book on it and it all
Hmm.
made sense because I know some coaches that they look in their their weight room, and they find out what the ninth and 10th graders look like, and that determines if they're going to stay at school because they're
Mm-hmm.
worried about wins and losses. And sports fans, that's the truth. There are coaches that run and hop jobs because it's all about the W's for them. And if the kid gets a scholarship, great. But if they don't, maybe they win a state championship. But in your case and in my case, that transformational guy is something I think that we share in common. So here's a question and I'm gonna put this in a way because I want to know. It's hard to talk about players and when they're almost like your kids. And I know everybody in America is asking you all these questions about who's the best between Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to know that. I just want to know, can you tell me what you think? Because you have spent more time with them besides their parents. What do you think if a general manager is listening to us right now? You're telling him and all the other general managers in the NFL, what are they going to get when these two guys go in the first round? If one of the teams is to draft them in the first round, what kind of kid they're going to get?
Stand up, stand up men. I watched them go from teenager to young adult. Now they're crossing over to being professional men.
Mm,
And and what we just talked about, I have not, me personally, seen a change in them.
wow.
I seen them remain humble. I
Mm,
seen them remain respectful to people. I seen them encourage people, go
mm,
out of their way to make people feel like they're not bothering them.
okay.
I watched that. I was out in California with Justin for 7.5 weeks, and people would come up and say, "Can I take a picture? Can I do this?" He didn't get annoyed. He just took it and told the man, "Thank you," and kept moving. So to answer that question, I think they're going to get two young men that's really, really stand up individuals who
Gotcha.
have a good heart and they come from a good family situation,
Yes.
and they're respectful. That's what that's what I like about them. You
Mm,
know, they're able to talk to you in a respectful manner and respond to you in a respectful way, which
mm,
is a lost art right now. The word
amen.
"yeah," "what" is is
Mm,
is is prevalent,
mm,
and and versus "yes sir," "no sir," or "yes" or "no." And they can
right.
speak to you without cussing. They can speak to you in an adult voice, which they should be able to. And
Right.
so that's what I think they'll get. They besides the physical part, I think they're going to get two people that's really going to be beneficial to the communities that they are drafted to. I think
Right.
both of them are private style foundation, whereas helping people or helping kids do something to achieve something. And I just feel that from the bottom of my heart.
Well, I agree with you, V, and I watching Justin, I guess, because Trevor came in and he led the ship from day one. But to watch the journey of Justin Fields, knowing his dad, and like I said, we got a great personal friend and his acquaintance of both of ours, and just watching um, uh, Justin go through those trials and tribulations, and then in the semifinal game to take that hit and
Yeah,
I felt bad for him because I saw the look in his eyes. He didn't want to quit. And he had that before the game started. He had a killer instinct that OSU was going to win that game, and to watch him battle back and against my roll tide, Bama monsters in the championship game, he still did the best he could considering. I know he was probably still in some kind of pain, but his perseverance is exactly what you're talking about right now, and that just manifests itself, and it made me even more of a Justin Fields fan, and
yeah,
I just wish that he gets the same type of chances to be what he was. Everybody kept saying that, always want to throw darts, and I get it, but both of them was special. And, I got to tip my hat off to you because those lectures, though that time you spend after the practice and those conversations some of them are priceless. They are locked
Hmm.
away in the vault, and that's what I'm learning in my older age and doing this. V that
Yeah.
those are priceless. Those are priceless bits of information. And I hate to say this before we leave. I just want to let you know I had a chance to go up against one of your younger proteges, uh, and you know I saw him play and
Hmm.
against Lovejoy, ninth grade quarterback for Langston Hughes, and
Yeah.
this young man, I'm not very knowledgeable about all the youth football. I just wasn't. I've heard rumors about great players, but I never really sat and watched a lot of games because my kids playing, my youngest son anyway. But
Hmm.
uh, I watched this kid, my buddy who's the head coach at Lovejoy. He said, "Coach, this quarterback is pretty good. The freshman is pretty good." So I watched him play against Wesley. And he came in and threw 2 touchdowns. Some people said it was against the backups. It didn't matter. I looked at his release. I looked at his poise, and I did just like this. I said, "Uh-oh, that's one of Ron Veal's babies." I said, "Guys, we're gonna have a little problem here, because I'm fresh man, and I'm coming. Five can't block six, and I really think I got something for West for Langston Hughes in my mind." And I
Hmm.
wasn't worried about the first string quarterback because he was very athletic and he could run. But I figured if we tapped him, he would stop running. Well, I don't know at what point in the game the head coach decided to make the change. He bought in Superman somewhere in that game, and that kid stood tall in the pocket. We played off man coverage. I tried to fool him a little bit, and he threw a dime. He threw a corner route, a post corner route that it was the only place it could be thrown and caught was by the receiver, and we had great coverage. And I said, guys, we're in trouble. And this kid Prentice Nolan, um,
Yeah. They call him Air Nolan.
they call him Aaron Nolan, and I love his composure. We hit him a couple of times, but he started shaking some stuff off, and but I knew it. I said, I told our coach, I said, guys, we're gonna have we're gonna have to get to him really soon, and I probably don't want to see him come in the game. So we probably need to make sure the first string quarterback stays upright. Well, he came out the game, and Superman came in, and those two quick touchdowns went up so fast. We still sacked him, but it wasn't enough because of what you said. The whole his footwork, his poise, and knowing where to go with the football. It just and I got to deal with him again this fall, and and I don't know how that's going to work. I'm probably going to send the National Guard in to go by his house before the game and tell his parent, take his parents to Disney World or something, and he misses the game. He's going to be a
Yeah, he,
problem. But
yeah,
he's special,
he's special. He is. He's
and he's tall.
left-handed, man. He's tall and he's silky smooth. And that's another one I said. Just it's no expressions, dude. No expression. Kids give you problems because you don't know. You just don't know what they're thinking and how they want to attack you.
Wow,
And they I call them they throat cutters.
wow. Well,
Yeah,
that's what he was.
yeah.
And once again, my hats off to you. Final thoughts on where on where the nurturing goes from here. Like I said, I salute you for being a fireman, saving lives, working with people, and in actuality, that's what you're doing, working with these kids. But next move for Coach Veal, what does it look like?
And the same thing. Just keep work. The good part about working with these kids, they keep you young, they keep you in shape, and that's a good thing, man. It keeps me on my toes, and I appreciate it. I tell my wife, I said, I don't have too many grown friends. I got a bunch of kids as friends, and and that's where it is. It just keep you young and it keep you involved, and it gives you the opportunity to give some service to these young men that we really need in this world right now. So
Man,
the more we can hold their hand, the longer we can hold their hand until they leave to go to school.
yeah,
Maybe they grab somebody's hand on the way out. from college and keep the circle going, you know?
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you, V. That is exactly the same thoughts I have. And I want to thank you for taking time. I know you was out working with people today. I want to thank you, brother, for spending some time with me today. We can chat on in this vehicle here and talk about as much positivity in this world that we can share as coaches. So
Correct.
I appreciate you. Thank you for taking time to come chat and talk some football with me.
All right, brother. I appreciate the opportunity and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of tonight's show. And once again, folks, thank you. If you enjoyed the show, please share. Once again, thank you. 100 yards of football sports.